Okay. Oops. Concept. Object oriented programming. First of all, what is this? We have seen in our previous classes that there are so many high level languages are there, right? Like C, C++, Java, C Sharp. Nowadays Python is more important, more famous, right? So these are all high level languages, and these all languages some support some technique, support some way to write our program, right? C is most the oldest one, and this support structured programming. Previously, whatever the program we have written is basically on this model, structured programming. What does this structured programming says? That if you if you have a big problem, what you need to do is you need to divide this problem into different functions. You need to define these big problem into different functions. So this is what a structured programming says to do. So in our previous programs we have just does the same, right? So if suppose we have a large program of a calculator, I need to create a calculator. To create a calculator, what I will do, I will create different functions for different functions, right? Different calculations. So this is what a structured programming says to do. So in this way, the first thing usually you do, you will reduce the number of line of codes, reduce the line of code. Next, you remove the redundancy, meaning the same code doesn't need to be written again and again. And third, easy to understand as slash write both. So this is what a structured programming does all thing. Now, what is OOPS? C++, Java, C Sharp, all are object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. What this object oriented programming says is that you need to concentrate on the entities or the object you are going to think of that. You are going to consider of that. Let's say I want to create a program to manage my students. So student is one of the object, right? So object oriented programming says that you only need to concentrate on the object, and whatever the functions, whatever the task, whatever the calculation related to this object, you need to create a separate file for this one. In our structure programming, we create different functions for different tasks, but in our object oriented programming we consider object and related to all the object. Like let's say I want to create a object program, so obviously I mean student program, so obviously student is an object. And now what are the tasks related to this student? I want to add new student. I want to add new, okay, delete student. I want to update student, right? So these kind of tasks I want to perform on this student object. So what this object oriented programming says that related to this object you need to create a different file, and all the functions, all the tasks, all the variables will be related to this object will be inside this file. How practically it is going to happen, we are going to see that. Object oriented programming. When programming is done using object and classes, then it is termed as OOP. C++ support OOPs. Okay, so we have seen what is object. Now what this term means, class. What are classes? Alright, so let's say I want to store an integer variable. Then what I will do? I will just simply create int a 50. Okay, so there is already an inbuilt data type integer to store the integer value. Alright, let's say I want to store the name of a student. So I will create a string student name. So now in this I can store the name of the student. So different data types are available for different type of data, right? But think of a situation where I want to store data for a student, and student data can be its name, can be its age, can be its maybe address, and much more. Now, as a student, it can have different properties, right? And for different properties, we have different data types. For name, we can use a string. For age, we can use integer. For address, we can use a string. But what about student? There is any data type? There is any data type to store the student details, and it has multiple properties as a whole. So we can clearly see that there is no inbuilt data type where we can store student details. And it is basically because different users, want to different programmers want to store different data. Let's say this is my school and this is someone else's school. So in this school I store student data as age and name only. But for someone else, the same student data, he or she wants to store age, name, as well as address. So it depends our requirement what data I want to store. So that's why there is no built-in data type for student. So we need to create our own data type, right? And that data type is called as class. So what we does is that we create a class. So how the class, then class name, and inside this I can define whatever the property I want. So this is what a class means. Class is basically a user defined data type, nothing more than that. It also includes all the features of C language. Yes, object oriented programming also includes all the features of object oriented. Like in structured programming we have seen that there are functions. If I have multiple tasks, I will create different functions, right? So this is also supported by object oriented programming. We can also create functions in OOPS. Class. Class is an user defined data type. Class consists of variable members and member functions. Okay. We have just seen variable members, but we haven't seen the member functions. What is this? Let's say I have created a class student, and in this class I want to store all the details, all the tasks related to this object student. This is our object, this is our student, is one of the object, right? Now let's say I want to store age, so I will create age here. I want to store name of the student, so I will create string name. Now I also want a function to print the value of student. So I need to create a function first of all, that function print name. Print name, right? So this is going to be a function to show the name of the student. So instead of creating in a separate file, what I will do is that I will create the same function inside this class. So this is called as member function. It is a function, but it is inside the class, right? So that's why it is termed as member function. And these variables are termed as variable members, or you can say members. Hmm. Yes, yes. Yes, a class can contain both variables as well as functions. So these functions, let's say I have n number of functions. So these functions will be termed as member functions. And this, and as a whole, this will be termed as members of the class. Let's say this is my house and this is my mother and this is a kitchen where she cooks, right? So the task she does is that cooking, right? And she is my mother. So mother is my, can be think of as a variable, and the function she does is just as a cooking, right? So this can be think of as a functions or a task she does. So both is happening inside my house, right? So this will, my house will be termed as a class, and this is my member as a my mother and her task. A class is a way to bind the data and its associated function together. Okay. So binding means what? It just store. Binding means what? Just to bind anything with each other, right? So class. Yes. So class basically does this. Class binds the functions as well as members at one place, at one file. So this is a class. Okay. These functions and variables are collectively called class members. We just have seen that the variables is termed as members or variables, or the functions is termed as member functions, right? These are termed as member variables and these are termed as member functions, but both collectively known as class members, because obviously this is living inside this class, so that's why it's termed as class members. The binding of data and function together into a single class type variable is referred as encapsulation. So the binding process of a class is also termed as encapsulation, another name for a class. So this type of mechanism is termed as encapsulation, meaning member functions and member variables both living in the inside the same class, then it is termed as encapsulation. But in C language this is not possible, right? Because we have declared our variables at global or local variables and we create functions at different places, right? So this is not happening in the C language, but in C++, in OOPS concept, we are going to create our class, and inside this class we have our own data members, and binding the data members inside a class is termed as encapsulation. So here you can see that we have a class, then we can class name, and after this access specifier, variables, functions. What are these access specifier? I'll explain this. So variables, functions, binding in a single class is termed as encapsulation. Okay, so what are objects now? Just in the same way, let's say I have created an add function, and in this function I have written some line of code. Now, to execute these line of codes in our main method, I need to call this function, right? I need to call this function. In the same way, when I created a class, let's say class student, and in this student I have created a variable called int age and string name, and also a function, let's say void print name. Now whatever written inside this and whatever the variables are residing in this class, if I want to access this, I want to create a object of that, I want to create a variable of that, right? Let's say whenever we create a int add, what is this int? Int is basically for integer, right? And it is also a data type, right? A data type means inbuilt data type. So there will be a class written for this int as well in our compiler, that whenever this int will be written, a memory location will be allocated and the variable of the name will be given, whatever the written here, right? So these functions are already defined in our C++ language. Same way, when I have created my student class and I want to access it, then what I need to do? I need to have a variable of that student, right? I need to have a variable of that student. Let's say I have created a student object. Let's create this one, then it will be more clear. Class student. I have a variable int age is equals to 5, int name is equals to xyz. I have just given the static value for now, and now void print name. Inside this I have just written cout, whatever the value is of name it is going to print. Okay, so I have created a student object. Okay, now let's say someone new student arrived to my school, new student. So what data I want to store about this student? The same as what I have stored as previous student, right? I have stored previous student of age and name. Now for this student I also want to store age and name, right? So I will create a new object for this student now. So class student, I will create student, and I will create a new object, or you can have variable, using this new keyword. It is quite confusing right now, I can understand, because uh-huh. Yes, instance of class means, yes. Instance of a class is basically instance of a class is basically that, let's say I create int a is equals to 5. What is it is going to create? It is going to create a memory location only to store integer variable, right? Only to store integer variable. I cannot just store 5.2 here because it is a memory location to store only integer variables, right? So in the same way, when I create an object for student, so it is going to create different memory locations in the form of student, so that I can only store the object of this students, right? So this is what an instance of a class. Instance of a class means that whatever the member functions, variables will be there, this object is going to access only those and only can store those values. In C++, the class variables are known as objects. When I create a variable of integer type, float type, inbuilt data type, then it is termed as variables, right? When I create a variable. When I will create a variable for class, let's say this is our class, and I will create a variable, something like this, student, and let's say create a variable var1. Now this var1 will be not termed as a variable because it is, what is the data type? The data type of this variable is student, which is a class. So this variable is now termed as objects, not variables. If we create variables for inbuilt data type, then it is termed as variables. But when we declare variables for class type, then this variable is termed as objects. So this is how we create our general format for object declaration is class name, and then we can create our object. Just like int a, b, c, I can create 3 variables of integer type. In the same way, I can create 3 objects: student1, student2, student3. So these will be termed as objects because the data type of these variables are class type, and this is inbuilt data type variable, so this will be termed as variables. We have class name is item, and inside this I have written some member functions and variables, and through this one I can also create objects. Just after this, okay, so we just have seen member functions. What are member functions? Class contain member functions that can be defined by any one of 2 methods. Okay, so up to now we have only seen one way to define our functions, right? In our structured programming, how do we declare? Void add, and we just declare our code here, and when I want to use this one, I'll just simply write the name of the functions, right? This is how we do in structured programming. But in object oriented programming, we have 2 ways to declare our member functions. Inside a class, we have just seen that if a student class, in our student class, I can have some functions here inside the class, right? So this is termed as inside class. So we can declare our functions inside a class. And now how to declare a function outside a class? We are going to see one by one. So how we declare a function inside a class? In this method, member function is defined and declared inside the class. So let's say this is my class named as my class, and in this my class I have a variable integer x, then integer y, and now I have my function void get data, and in this side I have just written, yes please. I haven't talked about public, private, protected. Forget about this access specifier right for now. Just think of this member function. We are talking about functions. So when we declare any function, this is a function, right? And inside this function, I have written cout, enter 2 integers. So this line of code is going to execute. So when we declare any function inside the class, then it is a inside of class. So this will be termed as member function, right? So 2 ways are there to define a function. One inside a function and second one outside the function. So we have learned about how to declare a function inside a class, right? We don't need to do anything much. We just need to define as a normal function the return type, then the name of the function, and inside this curly braces I need to define what task this function is going to do, right? And now outside the class, let's say I have just written my class student, and I have just declared int x, int y, something like this. Now after completing this class, closing this class, I remember to add one more function. Now I will edit this function, or instead of editing this function, I can create any function outside the class. But this is very important to understand. If I declare some function outside the class, then how this class is a member function, how this method is a member function of this class.